Welcome to this very special edition of Roll the Level. Today we're actually going to do something a little different. We got a preview build over this last weekend of Rebel Galaxy. It's a new game coming out from Double Damage. These guys that are working on this game are guys that have brought us some incredible titles in the past. Everything from Diablo, Torchlight, Fate, just some incredible titles, and they're going in a different direction, and I'm quite excited about this. They're kind of leaving the fantasy world behind and jumping into science fiction. And so, so today, Damien and I are going to actually tackle this a little bit. I spent some time this last weekend diving into the title and playing probably more than I should have. But it was a lot of fun. And so, Dame, you're with me today, man. And you just this is kind of your first exposure, isn't it, to this title?
Yes, it is my first exposure to the title, Matt. Actually, I didn't know about it until you told me about Rebel Galaxy. I think one of the things that I really appreciate right off the bat is that we've got ourselves this like very sci-fi intro here with like just things going nuts and lasers and missiles and stuff all over the place.
Absolutely.
But then in the background we also have this kind of honky tonk soundtrack. So it's kind of making me feel like they're going for like the whole like space cowboy vibe.
Oh, buddy.
And
buddy, it's so true.
Kind of like a Firefly or like something along the lines of like a Firefly, Cowboy Bebop sort of deal.
Absolutely. I mean, right out of the gate, like the first thing when I jumped in this game, I'm like, man, I'm Mal Reynolds. Let's do this. I'm ready to go. So anyway, man, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So as we're watching the video here, I'm watching you kind of cruise through space. You're jumping into some combat. Looks like I don't know whether it's the name of the ship or the person that you're fighting's name is Dead John, which I assume is about to be dead here in a couple of minutes. So tell me a little bit about your HUD here. What's going on in the heads-up display?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, right off the bat, they went for a really clean, simple interface. That just gives a really nice feel. It's easy to get into. Like one of the issues you run into with a lot of sci-fi games, especially flight sims, is that basically it's just overwhelming. When you dive in, and that's one of the things I appreciate about Rebel Galaxy is it's not that the game's simple, but they've done a great job at simplifying the process of getting into the game, and I really appreciate that. And so, I mean, down the bottom left corner, you kind of have your radar or your mini map, and that just becomes crucial in this game because you'll have stuff flying all over the place and just going nuts. And so, you kind of always have to keep track of that. Underneath of that, actually, is your basic shielding.
Okay, I was just about to ask that. It's looking like those blue lines are kind of flashing. So that makes me think that there's either shielding or that's like, hey, this there's kind of something coming up in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. So like actually right around this kind of the ring of the map is your kind of your four sides of your shields. Which comes in handy, and to be honest, I didn't realize that right away. Like you get these notifications saying, "Hey, your shields are down on the port side." I'm going, "Oh, cool," But as you kind of get into it, you realize that all of these little elements. I know, right? It's so true. But as you get into this, is one of the things I really like is they really did a great job of meshing all these crucial elements in a seamless way, and you don't even necessarily notice it. It's not like you have this section. It's like this is your shields. It's just seamlessly tied into some of the artwork, so it's really nice. On the right-hand side, we have kind of all your weapons. The combat system in this game is really unique in that it mixes this hybrid like auto firing cannons, tap targeting system with this like manual targeting system, and you can see in combat here when I'm using the broadside cannons that I'm actually zoomed in, and there's these parallel lines, and that's kind of the field, and I can direct that field when I'm firing, and so you have the potential, like it's kind of like that Galleon style, like you can kind of cruise in beside it and just
saddle up to them and unload.
Yeah, exactly. And later on, I don't know if I captured any footage of this, but you get heat-seeking missiles, you get flat cannons, all these different things that you can combine together, just make an incredible, kind of an incredible play style based on how you like to play. So up in the top right-hand corner, we've got things like our thruster power, our speed right underneath of that, and then just some basic command things that you use. One of the things that you'll find too is you can actually get a deflector, which is different than your shield, and it's kind of this temporary shield boost that will essentially stop the majority of the damage coming in. And so what's cool about that though is that like when your deflector's on, you can't fire weapons.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's this strategy to playing. Like, you've got to kind of time your shots because they're shooting missiles at you, and you've got to really be paying attention to what's going on around you. So just, and that's basically overall it. I mean, there's a few other little things, but those are kind of the main things you're going to see on the HUD. So it's pretty nice. Very nice system.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered, like in sci-fi shows, like especially like the Star Trek. You've got like, okay, we've got shields, but we're also firing like photon and energy weapons outside of these shields. Yeah. Like, at what point do the lasers like ricochet within the shield?
It's true.
The shield.
And a lot of that comes down to, I don't want to go too much on tangent on this, but a lot of that comes down to like shield harmonics, right? Like, that's how they justify that science. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
All right, so I'm seeing that like a bunch of the story and kind of quests, if you will, are done in these kind of video montages, and almost reminds me of like a BioWare game, like your Star Wars Knights of the Old, or not Knights of the Old Republic, but
like Mass Effect or any of those types of games?
Like Mass Effect and stuff like that, Dragon Age. So it seems like you've got like some kind of choice in how you answer questions. Do you within this, like, do you like have a quest log? Do you like, it looks like you go to kind of like a canteen and you talk with people?
Yes, yeah, there's a couple different things there. I mean, there's obviously the main story, which they didn't give us a whole lot of, obviously, because it's a preview build.
Right.
So you have that main story element where you get these conversations that are happening, like what you're seeing in the video and that type of thing in the canteen. But then there's also, I think it's called like, there's the news board, which just tells you what's going on in the system. And so you'll see things like famines and stuff like that, and you can actually buy materials and then go to those systems and dump those off. So that's another kind of way you can, it's not like necessarily a quest log, but it's there and it's something you can do. And then on top of that, there's also mission boards where they have missions in the systems. This is your typical fetch quests or kill quests and stuff like that. So there's this kind of nice mix to it, which is good because I'm me, I'm an explorer, man. I get in there and I'm like, ooh, second star to the right, straight on till morning. Let's do it.
So we're looking at your shop here and the defenses and deflectors and stuff like that. So do each ships have like a weight rating that you have like how does that work? Do you have like certain slots, or does it go by weight?
Yeah, no, it's a slot driven system. And so you basically have, I think it's a couple turrets. You've got your side cannons, which are your broadsides, and then you've got, I think you can have, like your flak, or I can't remember what the slot's called. But it's like a missile or a flak cannon or something like that. Then so that's all your offense. And then you have like a defensive, place with your hull and your shields and all that. And then you've got like your engines. And just different elements to that. And then there's a couple other things that I didn't get into because I just did not have the credits for, but it looks like you can kind of progress further as well. So it's it's a really intuitive system, works really well. There's a great like auto sell feature there where you equip something new and it says, hey, do you want me to sell the old one? And it's just a great just quality of life thing that I really appreciated about it so far.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions for you because it looks like we're coming up to the end of the video that you've got for us here. Okay, so rapid fire question number one: can you buy other ships than the ship that you currently see?
Yes, you can. In the preview, there were two other ships. I honestly can't remember the name of them, but they were really pretty and much bigger than the one I have.
Okay. It also looks like you're staying on a particular axis here as you're flying. Is that just the way that you're playing, or does the gameplay limit your y-axis?
Yeah, it does limit your y-axis, which initially I was like, I don't really like that, but you begin to understand why they did it that way. Now, like the ships around you can go into 3D, they can completely circle you and stuff like that. But I think it would almost be too cumbersome with the way the game is built. To have that y-axis because of the way targeting works. So like in this shot, I'm actually targeting with the turret, and to try to steer and do that at the same time, the way these things are built would be too complex, I think.
Okay, fantastic. So your finer thoughts on Rebel Galaxy? Are you excited for the release? Is this a game that you'll buy when it comes out?
I really think I will. I mean, this was just a preview build, and I could have probably spent way more time in there than I did. We're kind of coming up on this next gen sci-fi simulators, and I'm really stoked. I mean, we've got games like Rebel Galaxy, we've got No Man's Land,
No Man's Sky.
Or No Man's Sky, thank you. No Man's Land, that's weird. Anyway, we've got Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous just came out and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited because this is a little bit different than those other titles. This is more about your ship is your home. and just that exploration. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering when they finally let us on Steam. So should be good.
Fantastic. Well, hey, thanks guys for joining us here on Roll the Level. This has been a video preview of Rebel Galaxy, and we're looking forward to this release from Double Damage so that we can enter the verse and misbehave.
Absolutely.